Another day, another defect in the fleet. Yeah, so what's going on today? So these are my two sort of primary amps. So that's all good, isn't it? I've turned that on. The little switch is illuminated, and the channel indicator has come on. And this one, oh, the little neon lamp in the switch only seems to illuminate if I'm touching the switch. So I'm going to replace that switch. So I found a supply of switches. It was like as cheap to buy 5 of the damn things as it was to buy one, and they're a pretty good match physically, size-wise. They are like dead on. They're less glossy in the surrounds, and they've got a screen printed I and O on them, or 1 and 0. Other than that, yeah, they seem good. So this should be a quick one. So I'll get this table cleared, get that amp down, and we'll get strapping. We have all our lovely Mullard valves. Well, they have decent torch. Yeah, so, yeah, Mullard valves, lovely. Except V4, which I think in this one is a JJ, and in the other is a Softtech. I can't really remember why I've done that. And what we need to do in here is disconnect the reverb, colour coded, and get rid of that shielding cap from V1. And now we can remove all the valves. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove them, and I'm going to put them in somewhere away in their sequence. So, because if I reassemble the amp with the valves in different spots, different places, it actually changes the tone. Actually, I think for what I need to do, I just need to remove the powers. No, I'll remove the pre's as well, just to be on the safe side. Last thing I want to do is damage any of these valves. Okay, so I'll get you back on the stand while I do that. Okay, so that's the chassis out. Put that to one side. So this head box, this is actually custom. I kludged this together. So this amp chassis is actually out of a DSL 401 combo, and I made it into a head. I did it with the two of them, and yeah, that's what I did inside the amp box to make it a head. Make these little infill panels. That leather it's actually leather. It's from a handbag. Okay. Now we can work in safety on our chassis. Well, we can work without destroying any of the valves. So what we need to do next is use this. So I've shown this in other videos, but it always merits showing again because not being dead is a very important thing. So what we have here is a high-powered resistor. What's this one? So it's like 10k. But the important thing is it can handle like 50 watts. So what I do is I clip this across anywhere where there's going to be a lot of stored voltage and ground, and just bleed away the remaining voltage. So, yeah, a couple of key modifications that I've made to this amp over the years. That item there, a passive heatsink on top of the bridge rectifier. Early models of this amp had a bridge rectifier that could overheat, it was susceptible to overheating. Later ones had an upgraded bridge rectifier. This is a later one. I've actually replaced the bridge rectifier in this amp with a further upgraded item and fitted a passive heatsink to the top of it. Or is this an older one? Where is it from? Yeah, 2003. So I think this is one that didn't have a bridge rectifier issue. What else have I done? Oh, that capacitor there, I mean power cap, replaced that. It was a Sanwa item by standard. Really shit. Works and even hit its rated capacitance. And people say you can't hear capacitors, but I swear you can, because I always change these, and I change them for different things. What's this one? But yeah, Rubicon. That one? I can't see what that one is. Yeah, but I always change them. And I swear I can hear the difference, but I might be just insane. Right, anyway. Okay, so here we go. There are our switches. And the object in question. So you can see how it's retained. There are two tabs that you can fold in to get the switch back out through the cutout. So let's try folding those in and getting the switch back out through the cutout. Okay. That was a lot more difficult than I expected, but yeah, here it is in our hand. So it looks like our problem is the switch is damaged. We've got a little plastic peg that the rocker switch pivots on, and on this side it seems to be broken off. So yeah, we definitely need a replacement switch. Luckily, we've got bloody millions of them now, haven't we? A feast of them. Pins at the bottom. Does it fit in the hole? Yes, it does. How does it look? Yeah, it looks alright. So yeah, it's got the I/O on it, but I think that I/O is the wrong way around. Wait, what's going on here? Let's make sure we know what's going on. I don't have to get that switch back out. It's going to be annoying. Bet I'll do though. So we're on. We're off. We're on. I think it's the way up. Yeah, okay. So this switch is actually the other way around, I believe. So I'm going to need to fit it the other way up. Or is it not easier to remove than the other one? Okay, so I think that's the way round we want it. So that will be on. So both switches should be on now. Okay, I'll just explain what I'm doing. So this is a multimeter, as you probably know that. This setting is for testing diodes. So it's basically, you can use it to test continuity. So if you've got continuity, like through one of these wires for instance, it'll beep. So connected one end of the wire to each probe and we get a tone. So we've got continuity. Whereas if we don't have continuity between the black and red wire and the red wire, then you don't get a tone. So you can test diodes because you'll expect current flow only in one direction. But yeah, just use that to verify which way these switches worked, just so we didn't assemble the whole amp and have it the wrong way around. Which we would have. We would have assembled the whole amp and have the switches the wrong way around. Off would have been on and on would have been off, and that would not be any good. So I'll just give the same caution that I always do in any video when I'm working inside a valve amplifier. If you're not confident working inside valve amplifiers, you don't know what you're doing, you haven't done your research, you haven't acquired a suitable high-powered high-resistance resistor with which to discharge your capacitors. And by the way, really by rights, I've just worked inside these amps so many times that I kind of know what's what, but by rights you should really test for voltages with your multimeter after you've discharged, or think you've discharged your capacitors. To be absolutely sure, you should test for voltages with your multimeter. Okay, so yeah, I'm reassembling the amp, and I wasn't going to show you any of this, but I will show you this. So I didn't put the valves back into the chassis before putting the chassis back into the amp, and often you will find yourself pulling valves and working on valves and stuff with the amp chassis fitted in the amp, and you might not be able to see into the holes to get your valve pins lined up with the socket. So I'll show you how you can solve that problem. So if you take a gander inside your amp, what's it going to be an edit required here? Decent torch. Yeah, so if you take a gander inside your amp and look at the tube valve sockets, look. Let's try again. Okay, so if you look at a valve, there's ringer pins and like a little space where there could be a pin, but there isn't. So that registers with the socket. And if you have a quick peek inside your amp, and look at the valve socket, somewhere there'll be a space where there isn't a pin. Having equipped your mind of where that space is, and in this one the space is facing totally forwards, so align the valve in your hand, align the space with where you remember it to be in the amp, and then just so get the space completely facing forwards, and then you can just pop them in, easy as that, without having to fumble around for 5 hours. I'll just quickly show you this. So, had a slight issue with what I've done. So as soon as I apply power to the amp, the switch illuminates. So it's not on, it's on now, but the switch is illuminating. So what I did was I reversed the switch, didn't I? But what I haven't done is I didn't reverse the wires that I connected to the switch. So I should do that now. Yes, that'll teach me to put things back together before properly testing them. So these wires were connected the other way, so the insulated wire was sort of on the other pole, and these two brown wires were also the other way. And now we've got the right situation occurring. So yeah, that's a bit dumb, wasn't it? Reverse the switch, forgot to reverse the wiring. But yeah, all good now. There we go. So just out of interest, I dismantled the Marshall switch to see why it failed. And basically, yeah, the reason it was like hanging up at one corner was the switch cap had cracked. So this little piece was detached, still in there and pivoting. Interesting to see, the Marshall switch is it's a good quality item. These are spring loaded. There's the neon in there, little resistor. And these are the leaves and the contacts in there. Here's a new one. Yeah, I'll take one of them part two. I've got loads of them. So yeah. Oh, there's a resistor in there, a little tiny one in the corner. And the little cap with the I/O on it. And I suppose like an insulator. That was between the rocker and the leaves. So these pivot in there. Yeah, I mean, I suppose. Oh, I know I've done that. I could actually press those terminals out, couldn't I? And rebuild the switch with the terminals in a different place. But, yeah. I'm happy with what I've done. Got the amp together with its brother. So, That's all proper, and this one is all proper. Yeah. The red's a little softer in this one than it is in that one. But yeah. Happy with that. Thanks very much for watching.